he was black or African American, he said, I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I said, okay, well, I'm done with you. But then you turn around and you won't answer his question, which is a valid question. Do you identify as black? Roland Martin, Dr. Boyce Watkins, he's an economist. He's currently working on a scholarship to become a scholar, so he's doing an internship at a university. He's dealing in economics. How come you're not telling black people that they are actually white? Because it is going to affect commerce. Yes. Do you realize Good Times is going to have to be rewritten? Roots is going to have to be rewritten. They can't use African American in it. Who else? Good Times, Roots. What's the other one? That's My Mama. Color Purple, Amistad, all that has to change. Can you imagine how much money that's going to cost Hollywood to have to change all the dialogue and all the black movies?
That's why it's not for them to change, it's for us to change.
Well, it's still going to cost them because when we start correcting them, it's going to start costing them this.
Yeah, it'll cost them, yeah.
Right? You can't ask Hollywood to make a movie about, what's her name? I'm just going to pick somebody. Whether it's Nat Turner or whether it's Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, you can't ask them to make that. That means entertain me. Well, good. I'll entertain you the way I want to entertain you. Then you complain, well, there's no black movies. They're not making money. They cannot afford for you to come up because now we're all sitting at the table. But again, like Paul Mooney says, if we get into the commerce game, we take over. We got into. They wouldn't let us play basketball. We took over basketball. Didn't want us to play football, took over football. Didn't want us to say baseball, took over baseball.
Take a look deep and find out where soccer came from. And look up Olymecas and what that actually means.
What about hockey?
It actually means rubber people. And actually
Hockey's Egypt.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying.
Oh, y'all didn't know that?
I didn't even.
Egypt is hockey originated in Egypt. It's African.
On ice.
No, we didn't play on ice. Yeah, I know there's a Negro League here too. So
hockey Negro League?
Yeah. Halifax.
Say that again, sir?
Halifax. Hockey Negro League, Halifax.
Oh.
Yeah.
Halifax, that's actually the home of what do they have, the World Contractor Championships.
Okay, they do? Okay.
Yeah.
So now what we have here's my card, 2005, I was at the UN. So I like to show people and let they say pictures say 1,000 words, to show evidence that I'm at the UN. So I do interventions. So I know what the requirements are. I know how to speak in front of people. I know how to do all that. I know what goes on an international platform. So nobody can come and tell me, not even them knucklehead Moors from the Moor Science Temple or Great Seal Taj Street Bay, they can't tell me nothing because I'm like, where are your interventions? Where are your invitations? Right? I got an invitation from the government of Canada, and I don't know if I have it in this slide. There's another part of our own ID right there, and this is my postage stamp. Canada Post makes my postage stamp. This is my thumbprint. This was a squash blossom that I was talking about. Now this is the front and this is the back. So this was a traveler's card that I had. Let's see. We do. We do.
With that passport, so you travel with that passport?
Yeah.
The world passport?
That's the world passport. People heard about Mos Def, running into problems.
Yeah,
people who are in conflict or countries.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get a passport from that government because there's a coup or what
You
have
told
you.
my people in my country that they didn't get these type of passports.
This is endorsed by the UN. They smuggled me. I was living in Georgia. They smuggled me into Canada with the same passport that I just showed you.
But there's no visa stamps now.
No, because the one that I have, the other one, they just wanted to get me out because I was causing too much of a ruckus, I guess, down in the States. So yeah, because I was born here. So so when they said, oh, the passport's no good, I said, then how did I get in the country? Because if it's no good, you're supposed to turn me back at the border. You ain't supposed to let me in, but you let me in. So if you let me in, that means the passport is valid. Plus, they already stamped one on Yukon about 10 years ago. So when they were telling Most Def, oh, they were saying, oh, it's a fraud passport. The World Service is located in Washington. They turned around, they said, here, we have a list of all the countries that have stamped visas. South Africa stamped it because somebody was taking a course. Right, not Most Def, but somebody else. They stamped it. And so they said, how are you saying it's a fraudulent passport when the government of South Africa, which is registered in Washington, stamped off on it? So everything that we are getting from the commercial standpoint, they make it and say, this is real. Now when you do it, you have a right to assert your rights. You make it, that is international law. You have a right of self-determination. Yes?
How is the government of South Africa registered in that? There's a lot of things.
Because it's, I keep telling you.
So you're saying
it's all
they're
commerce.
part of their state? Like,
Pardon?
Like how you
No,
mentioned
what
Canada
happens is
part of-
the embassies have to get, they have to, they're on file on one aspect with the U.S. Department of State. They are registered, you have the government of South Africa and the Republic of South Africa. Both of them are registered on the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's all commerce. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is all business. U.S. is a corporation. Canada is a corporation. I exported both of them on an export declaration.
Does anybody have a birth certificate here by chance?
Yeah.
If you see a birth certificate, take a look at it, especially with, well, in
Your
case-
bond number's on the
Yeah, your bond number is on it, and you'll see it says, what is it? Remember, read that.
Red numbers.
No, read the
Oh,
other
at the
side.
bottom?
Yeah.
What does it say? Right
So
here.
was it on here?
Habitation or alteration boards this certificate. My man there says it's a stock certificate.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, because it's printed on security paper. Here's a letter I got from the UN. This is February 14,
Brittany said it,
2008.
mine didn't, remember? Because
And
mine
I'll-
has
I'll
the
just
whole
scroll to the
thing.
bottom,
This is just a
and you can
representation
see
of bullshit that they have. with
That it's
the
signed by the secretariat at the time. This is the type of stuff you have to have.
Sorry, repeat that again? Why is that something?
Pardon?
Repeat that last part? I missed.
Oh, this is a letter from, our nation got an invitation to the UN, what they have every year, it's called the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. You all are indigenous, but they got you playing this game that you're black, you're African American, so you're not entitled to international remedy, recourse, or anything. We're also in the International Decade for People of African Descent, which Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, Tavis Smiley, none of these guys are talking about it, and they have what's called a program of activities that all the countries agreed we're going to do this in the Decade for People of African Descent. It ends in 2024. So none of the people, Professor Griff, I called him, he ain't saying nothing. Malik Shabazz, New Black Panther Party, they ain't saying nothing. All these guys is agents.
Are you saying that Umar Johnson's also an agent?
Umar Johnson is an agent.
Agent of the Matrix? No, it comes down. It comes
Listen,
down
if you're not
to
talking
this.
about the
Yeah.
SF-181,
Yeah, man.
right,
If
you're not saying nothing. And let's take it
He's
further.
Boulay, he's.
A lot of black youth are upset because they're saying, oh, our culture, hip hop is being appropriated, right?
Yeah.
Black has no standing at law, and if it was really yours, nobody could take it. So if they take it, it is not yours. You invented it. Thank you very much, niggers. Make me rich again. Yeah, boom. Now I own the industry, and I will put a homosexual, and don't get it twisted like I hate them. I'm saying that this is part of the New World Order to make the black men gay.
Yeah.
The women will not go with the black men. And so what happens, it's the Jurassic Park. Now we'll make all the black races female because now we can control them. And then we put, what is that chemical they put in the water? They put that, right. Huh?
BPA.
No, not fluoride. There's a black guy who's a chemist. And he said what they're doing is they're putting estrogen in the water.
Oh,
So what
And
happens
baby
is,
formula.
And so when the men
And
drink the
swim.
water,
Swim
they're getting estrogen. That's why you have all these black men now twerking.
Which is why I suggest, men that you take estrogen blockers or aromatase blockers.
But it's not just men, it's women that are being affected and they're getting killed
And
off
women
with breast
also.
cancer, cervical cancer.
Fibroids.
Fibroids, big.
Yeah.
So it's, which
Research is
also
already-
can affect being able to birth. If you
Yeah.
have fibroids, you have a higher chance of miscarrying.
My sister can't have
So-
babies now. So it's like she's gone through 3 surgeries already.
Right, so.
And
Yeah,
she's
she
fibroids.
perm her hair.
Xenoestrogens
Yeah.
isn't just
So
a man
perming
thing,
her
it's
hair.
a woman.
Perming your hair.
Perming the
She's
hair.
now dread. Locks down to her back.
Black women who perm their hair, you're gonna get fibroids.
The chemicals.
Yes, the chemicals. All those chemicals you put on your scalp, they pass through the liver.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that definitely has been linked to fibroids.
So this is a letter we got from the UN. So we're on file. This is signed by Elsa at the time. This was back in 2008. The next one here is, this is another one from the Certificate of Commercial Dishonor. Some commercial stuff I was doing. I sent that to the City of Edmonton as a copy of this. What's the next one here? Okay, now this is what I talked about earlier. I'm gonna do this here from President. Oh, no, yes, one more slide. Much appreciated. Okay, this is what I talked about. These are things that happen in the public that the public doesn't pay attention, because that's the best place you hide something from the public, by putting it in front of them, they won't see it. Obama creates world's first superstate with US-Canada merger. In a shocking coup d'etat said to rival Nazi Germany's 1938 Anschluss, German for link-up of the Austrian Republic, the United States this past week, now this story came out February 2nd, they have it here at February 8th, 2011. We're in what, 2017, 6 years ago? And before tonight, y'all didn't notice?
No.
The United States, where was it? Okay, the United States this past week effectively took control of Canada, creating what is being called by Russian diplomat officials as the world's first 21st century super state. The United States announcement of this merger between these two North American nations was made February 4th by a posting on the whitehouse.gov website of President Obama, and which in part says, today President Barack Obama and Prime Minister Stephen Harper have directed the creation of a United States-Canada Regulatory Cooperation Council composed of senior regulatory, trade, and foreign affairs officials from both governments. In recognition of our $1 trillion annual trade and investment relationship, the RCC has a 2-year mandate to work together to promote economic growth, job creation, and benefits to our consumers and businesses through increased regulatory transparency and coordination. They have directed that the first meeting of the RCC be convened within 90 days by the relevant agencies in the United States and Canada. Now, pay attention here. Concealed in the diplo-speak wording of this historic agreement, however, is the complete overturning of the sovereignty of both the American and Canadian people's laws and regulations they have lived under for centuries, but which will now be melded together with no votes allowed by either of them ever again. And this is on EU Times.
Okay, so the thing is, I'm not refuting what you're saying, but how can you trust the legitimacy of like a source like this? Because I've never heard of it EU Times.
I've heard about this.
But I mean, even like the
There's
other-
what's called the NAFTA Free Trade Agreement. Then they had, what was it, the SPP, which is the Security and Prosperity Partnership, which is in 2005. Then they have, what was it, the TPP that Canada just signed with China, right?
If is there no like contract that we can see or legislation?
Oh, the links are here.
It's not-
The links are, so that's what I said, if you Google, you see in the red,
Yeah.
the links, hold on, the links are here, right in the article.
Oh, it's a screenshot image, right?
Yeah. That's
You're gonna be able to do it.
Now, I just want to roll, because, excuse me, when I do this, I can roll it up. So all where you see red here, you can click on that and you can see the RCC. And you can go check them out. It's all there. Now the next slide, okay, this is, let's see here. Did it again.
I think it's from Chris.
Okay, so this next slide is, we did an input. This is the Office of the Secretary General's Envoy on Youth. And this is on the UN website. And so like I said, if you leave your emails, we can make sure that everybody gets, we'll put a mass email out and everybody will get all the attachments. You can print everything off. So this is Secretary General's Envoy on the UN Human Rights Forum. Now this was a forum that they had, this was in November, on the role of youth in public decision making. Okay? So when we go here, you can see our nation, Atsikata Nation of Yamasimu, is listed as an NGO. So when you click on that, you'll get to see our report. And in the report, we mentioned the UN and has an obligation, as well as the Human Rights Council, has an obligation to tell black youth that they are white, because other than that, they have no standing at law, and any role that they would or think they could play in public decision making is just a game. Okay, yeah, you show up, you're just flavor, you're just an accessory for the ambiance, but here's what we're going to do.
So when exactly did we formally accept being black? Like, where did we sign this paper?
Where did we sign this paper?
Yeah, like,
In school?
so this is, because I'm wondering, like, if you have to submit a government or
Yeah.
intergovernmental form to declare being white, like, where is the form that I declare me being black? Or that I sound being black?
Yeah, that's a good, it's already assumed by what? Visual. If you walk on the street right now and you get into a discussion with
So then how
somebody,
does that hold up in, like, a court or something like that?
because you're going to publish this, that's why we publish everything
No,
on the
the
internet.
perception, the visual perception.
Because you're going to publish it on the internet.
No, the visual will still be there. Like, if
Yeah.
it just goes on paper, I'm white. Nobody's gonna see me.
Because you're going to do a Facebook, just like you'll take your thing
He's not gonna show
and do selfies and put it on the internet. And you put it on the internet the same way, this is what I said, natural programmers. The same way that you can do a selfie at a concert, at an event, or what have you, people may look and say, yes, you're black. But if you turn around and do a selfie at that event and say, I'm white, I'm indigenous, they have to now what? That's going to be ingrained in their head. Now, if they want to comment and say, man, you're self-hating, you're like, no, Barack said black has no standing at law.
So
That is a, yes.
why wouldn't that picture be evidence of me being white if I just compared it to those definitions that's in there?
Why would what picture?
Why wouldn't that selfie,
Yes.
why wouldn't that be evidence of me being white if that's the definition that's as is in the SF?
It is evidence.
Because what has to happen here is, you have to, what did they do with programming? You watch Super Bowl, what did they bombard you all with? Advertisements. And sometimes you'll see the same advertisement throughout the Super Bowl 5 or 6 times. Why? Sales, they tell you a person will say no 7 times before they say yes.
And then you get that pizza that they showed during the Super Bowl.
So they'll keep, they keep 365, 24 hours a day, they constantly keep hitting the children with that image, So the little girls grow up, they want to be like Barbie, I want to be like the Little Mermaid. Then we get mad at them when they get older, oh, they want to get with a Caucasian. Why? Because she saw on TV, he's Prince Charming. And she got hit with that from the time she was a girl up until the time she's a teenager. And there was nothing in between to stop the programming or to say, hey, this is what needs to be done, this is more for you. No. And so now it's like, oh, we're all together, we're all the same. No, we're not the same, we're all the same. How many of y'all got your own business?
Getting that.
No, raise your hands. How many of you have your own business? Okay.
I folded out my parents noted. I just put my business in my
Right? So the majority of black people who have business acumen, what's their biggest complaint? Can't get a loan. Because the statistics say that black businesses fail. So it goes back to the language, the word, the resonance, the frequency, the tone. Black has no standing at law. It is a negative frequency. Doesn't mean it's disagreeable entirely. It's a negative frequency, and the universe of which you are connected because you have melanin, and that means dark matter, is saying we don't call ourselves black. So we're going to create obstructions to make it difficult for you to succeed. The moment you call yourself white, it's not talking about skin color. This is about you all reprogramming the synapses in your brain that have been conditioned to do things a certain way. This is our submission report that we did on the United States of America. It's called the Universal Periodic Review. So we did this, and this is on file with the United Nations. So this is an actual UPR report. You have to be doing this level. You got to go international. The domestic stuff is not going to cut it anymore because it's not going to. You're not going to advance domestically. Domestic means chattel. I talked about the North American history points. This is a great one. Okay, great. 4 letters on American history. Now, this is published on November 17, 1827, number 7, by Professor Raffines. This is in the Pennsylvania. It was a Pennsylvania Saturday Night Evening Post. By Professor Raffines to Dr. J.H. McCullough of Baltimore, where he states, "To this day, they speak and write of the red man of America, whilst there is not a red man, nor never was, in this continent." This is 1827. To this day, do they attempt to separate the American languages from all others, while their roots and structure are exactly like many in the eastern continent. Further, it is sufficient to mention that there were in America, before Columbus came, nations and tribes of the following complexions: copper, tawny, olive, dusky, white or pale, yellow, dark, brown, and black, but none red unless painted, and that all these complexions are also found in Asia, Polynesia, and in Africa. 1827. What was the other thing? Right under, okay. Rights under Declaration. Let me see here. Okay, great. Now, definition of the United States means a federal corporation. It's an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, or an instrumentality of the United States. Now, for the U.S., this is their definition of genocide. You hear a lot of black groups talk about police brutality. No, you got to say genocide, but they can't say genocide because there's no such thing as genocide against black people because black has no standing at law.
Just living in a nation where you don't exist.
You don't exist. So the domestic definition of genocide in the United States, Title 18 U.S.C. Section 1091. Basic offense, whoever, whether in time of peace or in time of war, in a circumstance described in subsection D, and with the specific intent to destroy in whole or in substantial part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Black is none of those. As such, 1, kills members of that group, black or not people. 2, causes serious bodily injury to members of that group. Black don't exist. 3, causes the permanent impairment of the mental faculties of members of the group through drugs, torture, or similar techniques. 4, subjects the group to conditions of life that are intended to cause the physical destruction of the group in whole or in part. Doesn't that sound like Planned Parenthood? Mm-hmm. But again, if you want to be black, black has no standing at law.
You guys don't know.
So my quick, if I could chime in question once again, is
Yep.
like if we all fill that form and add our claim to, I guess, being recognized as a contractor level, being white,
Yes.
and then we all get killed by cops tomorrow.
Yes.
Visually, a group of visible minorities, black people, just died. Why would that change anything?
Because you have to have, what do we say? Okay, yes.
See, the thing is,
Hold up, I got that.
Cause like I understand like the beliefs, like 100%.
No, this is not belief.
not a belief,
Let's get something clear here. If anyone thought I'm coming here on a religious platform, I'm here to crush that one time.
But sorry, let me correct myself. Sorry, let me correct myself. Not a belief, but it is on a psychological level. Like, if we don't recognize or see ourselves as who we are and just what the perceptions out there are dictating who we are, then it's a disconnect. Is that not fair?
Say that again?
So for Hollywood, for example, if
Yes.
Hollywood is saying you're black,
Yes.
and what we know in reality, we're actually different from different regions,
Yes.
or we're considered quote unquote white,
Yes.
then that's what we should recognize as. So
Yes.
there's a disconnect between that. So my point is if we see that,
Mhm.
but the outside world perceives us differently, when
Don't
we
care.
all get
That's-
shot on our,
That's irrelevant what they perceive,
why is that relevant?
because your perception is what counts. It doesn't, they're going to believe, you got people who are Christian, who are black, who in one aspect are, I'm for black people, but I believe in Jesus. I said, you believe in white Jesus? I said, the church even said we made it up. And they even said we use Christianity as a basis to control black people. Right? This is the priests in the stuff coming out because they're old, so now they're coming out telling the truth. So you're not going to fight or convince a black woman who's 60 years old to let go of Jesus. You can forget that. My man, I tell people straight up, if the individual is 40 years and over and they are not open-minded, forget it.
Right.
2 minutes. You present that 2 minutes, your homeboy or homegirl, that, man, you talking that nonsense. Hey, what's up with Kanye? Hey, is Jay-Z coming up? And you change the subject one time.
Right.
This ain't for everybody. As soon as you because that's when you go back to what Morpheus was talking about in the Matrix. They have become so hopelessly dependent upon the system, they will fight to protect it.
Right.
At the point they cannot accept that, you're not going to fight with them. We don't fight with nobody. We tell people, look, 2 minutes, that's it. I go on to another subject. You are going to be, like I said, a natural programmer because of the internet. A wise man taught me, he said, the greatest mistake the devil ever made was creating the computer so a black man could look up his history. That was the greatest mistake. The second greatest mistake was the US government came out and told me that I'm white and I'm indigenous because my lineage is from the Caribbean. So now when I put those dots together and I see now the White House wants to take the Middle East and North Africa off of the definition of white, create a new category, and when their census for 2020 comes out, they know a lot of black people who are black are gonna do what? Run to the Middle East, North Africa. They won't even look at it because they're still trying to identify with Kemet, creates a new demographic, and then there will be funds allocated to that particular demographic. Still doesn't put you up any higher.
I think that he's trying to get is that like there's different levels to this. Like right now we're dealing with the level of commerce. In a sense,
Yes.
right? We're dealing with the level of commerce. So basically, if we change our status to white, then based on commerce, we're going to get a home, we're going to get this, we're getting that.
Credit score goes
Yeah,
up.
we're going to be treated at that proper level,
Right.
at that proper status. Now what we're talking about is, okay, I'm at that proper status now, and I'm cruising on the street, and some cop pulls me over and he puts 6 bullets in me. That's not where,
Okay.
where we're trying to get at there.
No, I'm okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so from that point, from that stance, or from that point now, it takes us on to another plane now where now we're white. Now we gotta kind of work together as white. Like
Yes.
from what I understand is they don't shoot Jews because they work together as a Jew, even though they're fighting with each other. When the world looks at them, they're Jews. So you mess with a Jew, they're coming for you. Right. The same with us, and again, as if now put yourself in the right status, they shoot you. They shoot you now, even though you're dead and gone. But now the correct status could now come in law, and deal with it properly.
Right.
You'll get remedy and recourse because we're still in the international decade for people of African descent. You're going to be, you're going to have standing, that's the most important thing. You'll have standing at law.
But we don't want to get shot. We don't want to get shot now, so now that gets to the point now where.
I'm glad you brought that up. If you, right, because I hear everyone talking here earlier before, and I can tell people are on a particular mental level. If you think you're going to get shot, then you will.
Okay, yeah, you
Hold
go
on.
out to the universe.
Okay, so your point is?
No, well, it's not
Careful.
based on the knowledge, or based on your knowledge, based on what you know. And yeah, you're technically you're not gonna think, okay, I'm not gonna go around thinking I'm gonna get shot. But regardless of me not going around thinking I'm gonna get shot, there still is a possibility of me getting in that situation or getting put in that situation where it happens. Now, we can't do anything to stop that.
Yes, you can. Because you're going to publish everything that you do on Facebook. We found another server in France, which is better because scribe.com, which we usually use, is starting to block people's commercial activity because it's showing the system up. You're going to publish that. You're going to tell your friends. You're going to conduct, at the point you do your SF-181 and you start doing your statutory declaration and your claim, you're going to be moving on a different frequency.
Right.
Now, you talk about spirituality. There was a book called The Crystal Book by Dale Walker, and he did an experiment where he had two people stand on a stage in the audience. He had a woman cuss out a guy, and he told her, you keep cussing this guy out. I'm giving you this invocation. I call the light now with me. I am a clean and, because I know it in our language, so I'm trying to translate it. I call the light now with I'm a clean and finished vessel. The light is my teacher. And he told him, you keep saying that. He told her, you keep cussing him out. After a few minutes, she stopped, and he told her, you don't stop until I tell you to stop. She stopped. He said, why did you stop? He said, because at first she hit him hard. Then as he kept repeating it, he said, why did you stop? She said, I felt this wave of warm energy come over me, and I just couldn't do it anymore. When you are white, we're not talking about skin color. Please keep that in mind. When you are white, you are talking about a frequency and an energy level that you are emanating. It's to the point where they won't even see you. Who here does photography? Who's a photographer? Oh.
Everybody else.
I got
Who's a
it.
photographer?
Videographer.
Videographer. Okay, so you already know the blue. You already know that the negative. If you're wearing black, the negative is white. If you're wearing white, the negative is black.
White power.
It's like, so.
In that dark room?
So this here is a letter that I wrote to Pope Francis, telling him that Atlanta, Turtle Island, land of the frogs exists. This was Pope, what's his name, 16, Joseph Ratzinger, Pope Benedict the 16th, before he ran out of there. And then I had also given them a warning on, this is my fingerprints. This was sent to the Vatican. There's an email on which website was this. This was naturalcredit.tripod.com. So I communicated with him. So
what's the
Yes.
language?
the language here, this is our Yamasic. It's a Muscovian Creek dialect, and it might be similar to some Amharic. If you speak Amharic or Amazigh, you will see some of the font, some of the script might be similar to those that speak it. So it looks familiar. Again, we keep saying, they put the lie that, oh yeah, we went and grabbed you all from Africa, all of you. And now you're finding Egyptian spells, you're finding Hebrew characters here in the Americas, which means it was one landmass called Ganawa before the continental drift. So we were already here. Let's see here. Okay, so now for Edmonton, Amiskwassiwaskahikan, that is the Cree word for the city of Edmonton, literally Beaver Mountain House. And the reason why I bring that up is we want to start tying into language. English is not your language. English is the youngest language on the planet. It is a Hindu language because you're actually speaking Hindu. We're all speaking Hindu for those that speak only English. And it's an Indo-Aryan, sub-dialect of Sanskrit. So again, if you're speaking somebody else's language, you're carrying what? Their energy, resonance, tone, frequency, vibration, etc. So you are in a language construct. So therefore, you're not in tune with your nature, because remember, we have what's called genetic memory. You have cellular memory from your DNA, from your cells. So that's why some of us will say, when I was growing up, would say, okay, ask him that. And then I used to get it, other classmates used to say, don't say ask him, it's ask. And they used to get mad about it. And I said, what's the problem? That's not, you could tell it's not our mother language, our mother tongue. Let's see what's the next one here.
So we teach you your Yamasic language class every Friday.
Okay, this is the open letter that I was talking about when you put this back.
Well, Chief teaches it. I'm going to be very clear about that.
This is the open letter that I wrote to the UN Working Group of Experts on the People of African Descent. And so I stated, I'm just going to go down to the meat and potatoes. With all honor, it is dishonorable and disrespectful of the UN Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent to act as if they do not know what the solution for African Canadians is. The UN Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent has done the same thing in Canada as they did in the United States of America. And that is sneaking and creeping into the countries which are not really separate anyway, and I've mentioned the 1778 Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union, to do fact-finding missions. The working group was given information about the SF-181, leprosy